Michael Hernandez here, MLH Media with MMA Sucka, and I'm here today with the LFA's commentator and somebody that's came from the RFA cage himself, Mr. Alan Jouban. How are you doing today, my man?
I'm good, man. We just finished the event. It was a successful one. We were just talking, me and you, like being in Santa Cruz. You could be in worse places. I mean, you know, I started my career with LFA in the commentary part in Wichita, Kansas, and all these other places where you're kind of out in cornfields. So when you come to a beautiful place like this, and like a hotbed, California, SoCal, Northern California, there's so many gyms, the AKAs, the Team Alpha Males, etc. You know you're going to get a lot of high-level athletes, high-level coaches attending these events. So you know you're always going to get like a really good show, and we got one tonight.
Speaking of that, I mean, you had Ron Kessler, you had Uriah Faber, you had the who's who of Northern California MMA, along with some of Southern California MMA greats. But let's talk about this card tonight. What were some guys that you've seen that just really struck out to you and were like, that's the next guy that's coming out of LFA?
Well, really, the main event. You know, we were just really digging our teeth into this, that the LFA flyweight division, men's and women, but men's specifically, I mean, this is all the talent right here. Outside of the UFC, this is probably the strongest men's flyweight division in combat sports. You look at the two guys that fought in the main event, Diaz and Climaco. Both of these guys are UFC caliber fighters. Mark Climaco had already fought on road to the UFC, had called some of those fights. He went up against a tremendous grappler who's now 1-0 in the UFC. He got the win tonight, but I've been having my eye on Mark Climaco for a while. He's high level. He's ready for that call. I think they need some finishes out of him, but he's definitely has the tool set to be a UFC fighter, as well as his opponent, Victor Diaz. I mean, he's a stud. And then we saw the Hawaiian tonight, but Muni Patoa.
Apuni Pagoa.
Thank you, Pagoa. He's dope. His striking is some of the highest level in this flyweight division. You know, there's some other areas that he's still building his grappling game, but when he gets going, he's a stud. But the flyweight division really stood out. And then, man, if you guys didn't see the feature fight of the night in the middleweight division, Buddy Wallace, Renato Valente, that was a freaking war. Wallace, this guy could take shots to the dome, keep on coming. He was a zombie. He got dropped in the first round, came back, won the fight, just relentless heart, toughness. This guy, he's somebody that's a finisher, man. He didn't get the finish tonight, but he's a dog in there. And he's a middleweight. He's a welterweight, rather, fighting at middleweight. Has to make weight, though, because you know what happened tonight? We were giving out bonuses. That got fight of the night. He's missing out on a bonus. Renato Valente is getting a double bonus because of it. So if Buddy Wallace can make weight and keep fighting like that, I think he's got a bright future as well.
Definitely a lot of guys, like how you said, they're really right there at that UFC level. Climaco, Diaz, a couple of those guys. How about Isaac Thompson also bringing in a very, very solid performance? What were your thoughts about he's only 22 years old and now 7-2 in his MMA career. What were your thoughts about that performance?
He's a stud, man. There's a guy in the UFC that he reminds me of whose name is kind of slipping my mind at the moment, but 22 years old, comes from a very high-level kickboxing, karate background. He can get it done on the feet. And he made the right move, I think. He came to California, went to Team Alpha Male, working on his grappling. And really, I think the grappling was the difference maker in this fight. He was able to get the takedowns as needed. Fight a smart fight. I didn't think he made any errors. Having that striking in your back pocket is always going to be a benefit. And then when you start adding the grappling and you can solidify fights or win rounds if needed by getting that takedown, it's a smart move. And at 22 years old, bright future for him as well.
We had a lot of great cards out here tonight, but tomorrow night you got a huge UFC Noche card. I mean, we cannot talk enough about it. ESPN Sports Center, everyone's been posting about it. Valentina Shevchenko, Alexa Grasso, co-main event. Sean O'Malley, Merab. They're showing some clips. Sean O'Malley in the LFA uniform, donning it in this cage. Who do you have in that co-main and main event there tomorrow night?
You know, I think Grasso is the favorite in that matchup last that I saw, which a bit surprises me, though, because although Grasso won the first meeting with their rear naked choke, the second one, I think, was bad judging right there. I think Valentina Shevchenko did enough. And it's really going to be the wrestling. If Valentina Shevchenko can continue to take down Grasso, I think she could find a path to victory. Has Grasso fixed that? Has she corrected her wrestling defense, her scramble ability in a number of months? I don't know if she's done enough. So I'm leaning towards Valentina Shevchenko, because she's so dangerous on the feet, but she has that wrestling in her back pocket like we just spoke about. And man, main event, Sean O'Malley against Merab. On paper, the worst matchup for Sean O'Malley. But I don't know, man. I'm not really a Sean O'Malley doubter anymore. When they were building him and feeding him the right people, I was a doubter. When Sean O'Malley kind of had to get stretchered out of the cage 2 times. I said, I don't know if he has the heart to be a champion, but getting that win over Petr Yan, even though it was a close fight, getting past that kind of belief in himself as a fighter where he could have found a way out, but he dug deep and went into a war against Petr Yan. Knocking out Aljo, man, I think he has that X factor that we spoke about with guys like Conor, with other guys, greats, that he wants to be like. And so if he does have that X factor, that means that he fires on all cylinders. When the lights are the brightest, and lights are never going to be brighter in his life than probably than at the Spear. This is a once-in-a-lifetime show. That's a lot of back and forth. That's me evading the answer. You know, I think O'Malley by knockout or guillotine, or Merab by decision. But I'm kind of thinking the X factor is going to play it out. Maybe O'Malley gets it done.
A lot of things culminating in that mind of yours, Alan. You just commentated a great LFA 192 card, and then think about that UFC Noche card. I'm going to let you go get some rest, my man. Michael Hernandez, MLH Media. We're going to be signing out over here in the lovely Santa Cruz Kaiser Permanente Arena with my man, Alan Jouban, after LFA 192. Hey, thank you so much for your time today, boss.